What's up, you freaking geniuses? So in this video, I'm going to teach you how to solve quadratic equations using square roots. All right, and there's basically three cases. You're either going to have one solution, two solution, or no solution. All right, so I'm going to do a couple examples of each one. So let's start with this one here in the top left. We have 3x squared minus 27 is equal to 0. Right, so we're just trying to solve for x. Right, so the first thing we're going to do is get rid of this minus 27 by adding 27 to both sides. Right, these cancel out. So then we're just left with 3x squared is equal to 0 plus 27 is just 27. Okay, the next thing we can do is get rid of this 3 by dividing both sides by 3. Okay, these cancel out, so then we're just left with x squared is equal to 27 divided by 3, which is equal to 9. Okay, so we have x squared is equal to 9. Now, in order to get rid of this exponent, all you have to do is take the square root. Okay, and then again, whenever we do to one side, we do to the other, right? So we have to take the square root of this number also. So on this side, this square root and the squared exponent, they just cancel out. So then we're just left with x is equal to, now here for the square root of 9, you're going to basically have two answers. You're going to have plus or minus, and then the square root of 9 is 3. Okay, you always got to put this plus minus here. Now the reason for that is because positive 3 squared, that's equal to 9, and negative 3 squared is also equal to 9, right? So that's why we have two answers right here. So x is equal to positive 3 and x is equal to negative 3. All right, let's go to the next one over here. So we have x squared minus 10 is equal to negative 10. Okay, so to solve for the x, we'll get rid of this minus 10 by adding 10 to both sides, right? These cancel out. So then we get x squared is equal to negative 10 plus 10 is equal to 0. Okay, now again, we have our exponent. So all we need to do is take the square root of both sides. So then on this side, we're just going to be left with x. So we get x is equal to the square root of 0, which is just 0, right? You could put your plus or minus there, but there's no such thing as positive 0 or negative 0, right? 0 is just 0. So here our answer is simply x is equal to 0, right? So we only have one solution in this case. Okay, we'll come to this next one here. So negative 5x squared plus 11 is equal to 16, all right? So here we'll subtract 11 again from both sides. Those cancel out, so then we're left with negative 5x squared is equal to 16 minus 11 is 5, right? Now we'll divide both sides by negative 5, right? Negative 5, so then here those cancel out. So then we're left with x squared is equal to negative 1, right? Now here we have x squared is equal to negative 1. Now this is a big issue because there's no number we can plug in for x to actually get negative 1, right? Because positive 1 squared, well, that's equal to 1, and negative 1 squared is also equal to positive 1, right? So there's no number you can plug in for x to get negative 1. So whenever you have x squared is equal to a negative number, there is no solution, right? So then this problem has no solution. All right, let's come to this one over here. So in parentheses, we have x minus 1 and then squared is equal to 25, okay? So the first thing you can do here is get rid of this exponent by, again, just taking the square root of this whole thing, like that, okay? And again, if we take the square root on this side, we have to do the same thing on this side, right? So then on this side, the square root and the squared exponent cancel out, so then we're just left with x minus 1 on this side. So x minus 1 is equal to the square root of 25, which is equal to 5. Okay, and then you want to put your plus minus again, right? So then here, we're going to have two answers, or two equations, really. So we have x minus 1 is equal to positive 5, and x minus 1 is equal to negative 5, right? So we can write those out. So x minus 1 is equal to positive 5, and x minus 1 is equal to negative 5, all right? So then on this side, we can add 1 to both sides. Those cancel out. So then we get x is equal to 6. And on this side, again, just adding 1 to both sides. Those cancel out. So then here we get x is equal to negative 4. Okay, so then this problem has two solutions, right? We have x is equal to 6 and x is equal to negative 4. Okay, so just a couple more here. So in parentheses, we have x plus 7 squared is equal to 0. So again, we can do the same thing. We can take the square root of the whole thing, right? And what we do to one side, we do to the other, all right? So then again, here those cancel out. So then we're just left with the x plus 7 is equal to the square root of 0, which is just equal to 0, right? And again, you can't have plus or minus 0 because 0 is just 0. Okay, so then this is the only equation we come up with. X plus 7 is equal to 0, right? So then to solve for x over here, you can just subtract 7 from both sides, right? So then we get x is equal to -7, right? So then here we only have one solution. Okay, and then lastly, here we have in parentheses x minus 2 squared times this 4 out here is equal to 64. Okay, so in this case, the first thing I'm going to want to do is get rid of this 4 by dividing this whole side by 4, and we'll do it to this side also, right? So then on this side, these cancel out. So then here we're just left with the x minus 2 squared is equal to 64 divided by 4, which is equal to 16. Okay, and then now we can get rid of our exponent, right, by taking the square root of both sides. So then we're just left with x minus 2 is equal to square root of 16 is 4. So we're going to have plus or minus 4. Okay, so then again, we're going to have two equations, right? We're going to have x minus 2 is equal to positive 4 and x minus 2 is equal to -4. All right, so then we'll just add 2 to both sides. So then here we get x is equal to 6. And then over here, same thing, just adding 2 to both sides, you get x is equal to -2. All right, so there's your two answers, or two solutions for this problem. So if you found the video helpful, definitely leave a thumbs up down below. And if you have any other questions or want to see any other examples, just let me know in the comment section below.